How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about the rapper by the name of Snoop Dogg attempting to get President Donald Trump to pardon Harry O, who is a co-founder of Death Row Records. Now, there's a lot to this particular story. There's quite a few rabbit holes I'm going to take you down. But first things first, the most obvious thing, the elephant in the room. Here's what I got to say to Snoop Dogg. You got some nerve, sir. You got some serious nerve to ask Trump for anything. This is the same man you've been insulting for the past 4 or 5 years. Okay, Fat Orange, MF, you got a music video where you're pretending to shoot him. You're talking about Trump supporters being racist and white supremacists and coons, Uncle Tom, sellouts. I remember he did the Instagram post where he had the coon bunch. All right, it was like a Brady Bunch style poster with all the black conservatives on it and the picture of a raccoon in the middle. Calling us coons, Uncle Tom, sellouts. I was offended that I was not on the poster because I feel like, I'm like top level with some of those guys too, but that's a different story. And I digress. The whole point is that you insulted people that support Trump, regardless of whether they're white, black, Puerto Rican, candy stripe. You insulted Trump. You insulted Kellyanne Conway. Anybody affiliated with Trump, you insulted. But now, at the 0 hour, you want to ask Trump for a favor. You want him to pardon Harry O. Now, Trump might do it. Okay, don't get it twisted. Trump might just say, you know what? Forget all that. I'm going to just do it. It could be a way for him to say, you know what? You guys didn't vote for me, or maybe you did, but that's a different story. You guys that were hating on me, wanting me out, now see what I can do for you. If I did this in the 0 hour when nobody else could, because let's not forget, Harry O been locked up since the 80s. Okay, so you had probably maybe even Reagan or at least George W. that could have got him out, didn't do it. Slick Willie could have got him out, didn't do it. George W. could have got him out, didn't do it. Obama could have got him out with Biden as a vice president, didn't do it. And then it comes to Donald Trump to get him out, and he does it. Okay, he could do that. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. But the whole point is that you talk all that stuff about Donald Trump, and now you want him to come to your rescue. All right? You've got some nerve, Snoop Dogg. You really do. Okay, but like I said, Trump might do it. And there's quite a few guys that he might pardon on the 0 hour. I think today will be his last day, his last full day in office because, and by the way, today is Tuesday, January 19th, 2021. And tomorrow's Wednesday, January 20th. Biden gets sworn in at 12 noon. So Trump is the president up until 12 noon when Biden gets sworn in. So today, or maybe early in the morning on Wednesday, Trump could be doing quite a few pardons. He might pardon Kodak Black, Lil Wayne, and a few more guys. But Kodak and Lil Wayne, they gave Trump their support like during the election. So it's like, okay, you support me, you saying favorable things. Well, I got you. Some may call that quid pro quo, pay for play. But I mean, if you're nice, I'm nice. What's wrong with that? I'm not saying you have to be nice. It's like he could give Snoop a pardon or his friend a pardon without him being nice. But anyway, Trump could do that just because he wants to prove a point. And then he might get Julian Assange, some other guys, I have no idea. But let's get back to Death Row Records. Now, Snoop obviously, well, maybe some of you guys are kind of young, so you don't know the story. I'll give you the story right now. Back in the mid to early 90s, that's when Snoop first started on Death Row Records. All right, the head of the label, the face of the label was Suge Knight. But Suge was just the face. All right, he was like kind of a security guard, football player. He wasn't really like into the banging, the gang banging, but he was around that. He had friends that were in that. So that's why you see him with the big red suits on, because he was around those guys. And people like Harry O that had the money, that were out there slanging and banging for real, that were able to start the company with the seed money. That's how it goes. Rockefeller Records, the same thing. Jay-Z with a guy by the name of Kareem Biggs Burke, who is Maul from the Joe Budden podcast brother. That's how they started. Rick Ross, the actual Rick Ross, not William Roberts from Florida. Rick Ross from Los Angeles, also a really big dope boy. He helped to start the career of Anita Baker. So you wouldn't know about Rapture of Love, all this, that, and the third, if not for drug money. But getting back to Death Row, they started with drug money. They had Suge Knight as the face, as the menacing enforcer, the head of the label. And you had Dr. Dre as one of the rappers and producers. Snoop Dogg was there. Tupac was there. All right. A lot of these guys were on the label as acts. All right, you're in Los Angeles. A lot of these guys are actors. Tupac came from New York originally and moved to Baltimore and was a theater student. He was not a thug at all ever in his life. All right, he moved to the Bay Area to stay with his people. It might have been his aunt and or uncle. And that's when he became part of Digital Underground, wearing the bikinis and whatnot. That's a different story. Then he went to Los Angeles, became part of Death Row. So Harry O was instrumental in all these people coming together because of his seed money. So Snoop Dogg being loyal to Harry O, to Death Row Records, to California, to his roots, he wants to spring Harry O from the penitentiary. And he's been there since, like I said, the 80s for about 3 decades or more. Now, I think Allison Reed Johnson is behind this. Quite a few other people in the White House, around the White House. I think Jared Kushner knows. I think Trump knows. And it could go somewhere. It really could. Some say, why wouldn't he spring his other friend, Suge Knight? Number one, I don't know how close Snoop and Suge are. Because I think Suge said that Snoop had snitched. Because remember, Snoop had a murder trial and he beat it. But after the murder trial, he got caught up again with some weed or something. I think he was on probation from that. He got caught with some weed and or a pistol, and he didn't go to the penitentiary for that, although there should have been a direct violation. You caught with drugs and or guns, you going straight back to the pokey, straight back to the hoosgoo, but he didn't do that. And there was an interview from Suge some years ago that said that Snoop had snitched to get out of that situation. Now I'm reading that whole thing got cleared up and it's not really an issue anymore, but maybe it didn't get cleared up. Maybe there's still some bad blood between Suge Knight and Snoop Dogg. Also, Suge just got locked up fairly recently, probably about 5 years ago, on a murder charge. Well, the charge was murder. It was attempted murder and actual murder, but the conviction was voluntary manslaughter. Regardless of what the actual sentencing was, somebody died and he's guilty of that person's death. In Harry O's case, his charges include attempted murder, conspiracy to commit murder, but not actually murder, and of course the cocaine charges. But he doesn't have any bodies on his record. So it may be easier to spring Harry O because there's no murder attached to his name, and he's been down for the past 30 or more years, versus Suge, who has a 30-year sentence, actually a 28-year sentence, and he's only been down for about 5 years. So it's a little bit easier to spring Harry O than it would be Suge, for those that are asking, why don't you spring Suge Knight as well? So we'll see how this whole thing goes. But you know what? I'm kind of not surprised that Snoop would try this. I mean, like I said, he has some nerve. You want to insult Trump for the past 4 or 5 years. But lately, I've been seeing a little bit softer Snoop on some of these things about Trump. He's been a little bit softer. He's not really been so vocal. You know, I saw him say something about some rapper. I forget who it was. And they were kind of linked to Trump. And usually I would see a Trump insult from Snoop in that circumstance. But I didn't see it that time. I'm like, wait a minute. Is he just, getting a little bit older, a little bit wiser? Maybe not so much. Maybe at that time he was already in the process of trying to appeal to the administration to get Harry O out of the penitentiary. He knows Biden ain't going to do it. He has no reason to do it. Biden already said to you guys, hey, look, vote for me. You ain't black. That's what I'm going to give to you. That is my outreach to the black community, to the illegal aliens, to the Hispanics. Hey, 11 million of y'all, 30 million of y'all, you get amnesty. It's all good. Okay, we're going to import them to replace black people in work, voting, society, all of that. They're going to be a step above black folks in the Biden administration. That's what his plan is. We're not going to let it happen, but that's what his plan is, right? So Snoop knows he can't go to Biden to get it because, like I said, Harry O been locked up since the 80s. Obama could have got him out at any point in his 8-year time as president, but he didn't do it. He knows that Trump is his last resort. And by the time, if Biden were to do 2 terms, which is unlikely, but if he were to do 2 terms, by that time, Harry O already be out. He'll already be free from the penitentiary because his release date is 2028. So he'll already be home. So Biden has no reason, no incentive, no purpose in freeing a drug dealer, attempted murderer, and Harry O. The black vote is pretty much in the bag. he can insult people and still get the vote, and he's going to import a bunch of illegal aliens, make them citizens, try and get more vote to cement it. He has no reason to do anything for the black community at all, like he said to you during the campaign cycle. But as I close, I want to say this. Trump might actually let Harry O out of the penitentiary. Maybe he won't. If he doesn't, who's going to blame him, right? Nobody else did. Why should I? And you want to insult me, call me all kind of names, and, threaten my life almost in the music video. Why would I do anything for you? All right. It's not even about necessarily pay for play or quid pro quo, whatever the case may be. It's about, hey, if you want a favor from me, at least you could do is just be nice to me, at least not insult me. I'm not saying you got to go out there and put on the Trump hat and say Trump 2020 and campaign for me, but at least don't try to call me a name every 5 seconds. Maybe that might be a good start. Maybe that might be a positive direction for you to go if you want me to help you out in any kind of way. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? Do you think that Trump will spring out Harry O from the penitentiary? If that's your viewpoint, let me know why in the comments below. Or will he not do it? If that's your viewpoint, let me know why in the comments below. I feel like he should do it just to prove a point. To say, look, you guys that doubted me, you didn't want to vote for me, you hated me the whole time. Look at what I've done. Look at my legacy compared to the other people. Look at what, and regardless of what, people can insult me, they call me all kind of names, all this, that, and the third, but here's the real Donald Trump. Here's the real guy that stood up for the little guy in the face of adversity, that did things that nobody else said I should do just for the American people, just for the greater good of society. Put myself aside. I came in here, I gave it all I had, I put it all on the table. I could have just been a rich guy, living life in Florida, golfing every day, chilling, hanging out with my grandkids and whatnot. I could be doing that, but I can't serve my country, all right? So he could do that, but if he doesn't do it, nobody will blame him, all right? And Snoop might have got that opportunity to get Harry O out of the penitentiary, but since he was so nasty and mean to Trump, then maybe he might have blown the opportunity. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.